Hello, this is my demo of my Java client server Chatroom application. So first, I'll be starting the server in the terminal. First, I have to compile the server. Then I have to run it. And as you can see, the server started and it's listening on port 3000, and it's waiting for the next client to join. Now I'll be compiling the client, and I'll be opening three client windows. As you can see the host for each of the windows, and the ports are automatically pre-filled. I can even go back to the previous page if I want to change the port or the host. Although I can't connect unless I specify a username. Once I connect, I'll say "Sci connected," and then a message saying I joined the lobby. It shows me as the first user connected to the server. On the side client, it says J connected. If I press it again on the side client and the J client, it says that Chan connected. In each client, it shows the the their own name at the top of the user list, but with the number next to the name showing what which client connected first to which clients connected to the server in order. So here I can send hi, and that will show up on the J client and the Chan client. Because in the lobby, a normal message will be broadcasted by the server to all the clients in the room. So J says hi and Chan says hi. It shows up for everyone in the room. So if so, I will be showing how the server will continue to run even though all clients disconnect. Or yeah, then I can run them again. Same thing goes for if I disconnect. I will be disconnected from the server, but the server will continue to run. then I can connect back again. And because I disconnected, Jay and Chan receive a message saying I that the side client disconnected and reconnected. If the server were to be terminated, then the clients would still stay in the lobby, but they cannot send messages because the server is what broadcasts the messages, is what connects the clients together and broadcasts the message. See how nothing's being sent? Because and it results in an error in the client that's sending the message. So now if I recompile the server, we can continue talking again. But it seems that we have to disconnect first and then reconnect. I think the reason why I wasn't able to send a message after the server was up and running again was because I recompiled the server, which must have caused some data loss and connection loss between the clients. So the server also has a functionality called rooms, which lets me create a room and join it. Similar to the lobby, I can create other rooms, and other clients can join those rooms. So I'll set a room called Skyrim, and I'll create it. The client that creates a room will automatically be joined towards that room. So it says join room Skyrim. If I send a message, it won't show up for the other clients because they're not in that room. It will also show the other clients that I disconnected from the current room, but other clients can also join the room as well. Will show up, and they could join the room as well. And then once again, the messages are displayed to all the clients in the room. I created several server side functions that allows the user to use certain type of miniature games inside the lobby. Like for example, if I type slash flip, it'll display to all the users that the side client flipped a coin and the result is heads. Do it as well. It'll say heads because the coin flip is ran- randomly generated between numbers 0 and 1. 0 is heads and tails is 1. So if I keep doing it, eventually I should get tails. But if not, then that's okay. I can also use a roll function. The first roll format rolls a number from 1 to or zero, 0 to a number that they choose. So if I put slash roll 12, it'll show that the result is 9. But do slash roll 12 again, shows that the result is 1. And it will show the name that rolled the who that did the command as well. For the second roll format, it rolls a number of dice that's randomizes a number between 0 to the number that they specify. So if I say roll 3 dice, and let's say 6 is the number from 0 to 6, which will result as 5, 2, and 5 because it rolled 3 dice, and the randomized number for each dice is 5, 2, 5. So a service, another feature that users have, as you notice, is they can use text styling formats. So I type this is Psy to use a text formatting. I have to wrap the text in symbols. So for bold, I do two asterisks, then my name, and then two asterisks again to end the wrap, and it will display Psy in bold. They can also use italics and on underline line as well. The italics is with one asterisk, and it'll display their name in italics. This is for the underline feature as well. And on underscore for the underscore for the underlined text wrapping. Click send, and then it'll say this is Chan with Chan on underlined. I can also use. I can also do text styling for the colors as well. So if I say this is, we'll wrap the text in the red color, as you can see. And now I'll do it for blue. And then for green. Another feature that the users have is that they can send private messages to the clients in the same room by putting the at symbol in, let's say, J space. And now at J will send a private message to J, which Chan client will not see. It will say private message to J. If I increase the, you'll see that after I sent the private message to J, J's highlighted in bold, and then the message, he will receive a message from Sai saying private message from Sai. Hel- Hello, this is Sai, and then he and then Jay could do the same thing for Chan or Sai. But as you can see, like as these two clients are communicating in the same room as Chan, Chan does not receive that message. It is also important to note that the messages can be sent using either the send button or the enter button. So as you can see, my mouse is not moving to the send button as I type in a message. On on another feature my ch- chat room implements is the mute feature. Just like the slash flip and slash roll commands, this uses slash mute. And I could mute the name of the person I want to mute. So it shows that I've muted Jay, and Jay also receives a message that he has been muted by the side client. And if Jay attempts to send a message, it does not show up for side, but it shows up for all the other clients. As you can see, as Chan is messaging Sai can see it, Jay can see it, but Jay does not show up for Sai. The mute feature also has a counter feature to unmute the user. If I type in unmute Jay, it will say I've unmuted Jay, and Jay will receive the message as well. And then Jay can send a message back to Sai again. The client can also has an export chat feature. So if I press export history on the side client, it will prompt a window that lets me choose where I want to save the document. If I click this one, it will save it to desktop, say IT202 chat room. And if I exit out, minimize that, it'll show the IT202 chat room text, and it'll show the chat history in HTML tags of the chat with from the side client. It will also show the text formatting wrapping for each message that uses it. If I were to mute J Chan, and then exit the client, the mute list will persist. So if I mute J, you can see he has received the message, and I mute Chan. The, the message shows. If I were to say, if I were to exit, if you notice down here, the mute list shows what's written to the list is Sai, comma J, Sai, comma Chan. This means that the this shows that the muter Sai has muted J, and this is how the association with the muter and the muted will show up in the list. So as you can see the servers running, and I will rerun the client. In order for the mute list to work, I have to enter the same names as I did when the mute was applied. So currently we're in the lobby of the chat room. As you can see, when Jay sends a message, Chan sees the message, but Sai doesn't. And if Chan sends a message, Jay sees it, but Sai doesn't. The only way to unmute them is with the same counter command to unmute J. It says unmuted J, and then if I type a message, it says hi again. If I look at the mute list, you'll notice that the mute list has been edited again, and Sai and J has been removed from the list, but Sai and Chan stays there. So if Chan were to send a message, Sai still won't see it unless Sai unmutes Chan, and then you can all see the message again. So if you notice from the user list, the last feature of the project was supposed to highlight the name that sends the last message and gray out the names that are muted on the client that mutes them. So I attempted to implement the name highlight, and it didn't necessarily work. I'm not exactly sure why, but I'll walk through the steps of what I wanted to do. So my plan was to get the client ID from the on message receive. So in order to do that, I created a user list panel object, and I listed it as new user list panel this. And down in the on message receive method, this method essentially gets the client ID and the message of the last user to send a message. So I was able to access the sender ID method from the user list panel. here. And then I assign the client ID from the parameters of the on message received to the sender ID per parameters. To test this, that to test that the client ID was received from the user list panel, I made a setter, a getter that returns a sender ID. The sender ID is listed up here on private sender. I could use public sender ID as well, but I wanted to test that it actually received it and can be used in a method because because in my previous implementation, I tried to use the public sender ID in this method, but it would always return as zero when I use the the logger. So I used get sender ID, and on message received, when this method runs, the logger will display client ID received from user list panel. I'll demonstrate that. So as you can see, this is the end of the client terminal script. And if I type, so the last user to send a message was Chan, and that's displayed in the client list. If I were to say hi, you can see that the sender ID is successfully retrieved, and the client list says the last ID to send a message is 4, which is a side client. In the user list panel, my plan was to create a method that will take in the client name and put that in the parameters of the text format method call. I also changed the text slash the message type from text slash plain to text slash HTML to apply the highlight change. So in this method, it takes in, it creates a string object called for formatted client name equals client name, and it creates an component object called CS. And what this method essentially is supposed to do is that it's supposed to iterate over each component in the user list area. And if c dot get name of the client equals the get sender ID from the get sender ID method, then the formatted client equals the client name wrapped in an HTML text formatting for color blue. And if the name is not equals, the text formatting is be set to black. And then it returns the formatted client. Although when I ran it, and as you can see as I'm running now, it does not show the blue username for J or for any other client. I was unable to implement the muted use to gray out the muted users, because I due to a time constraint I was unable to implement that, and I wasn't able to implement the highlight feature to start off with. This concludes my demo of my chat room. Thank you.